All right, so let's talk about the 5 attractions for females that go beyond the myths. Now, there's a lot of people out there online talking about manipulative ways, pickup and game methods to be able to attract a woman. And I can tell you that I was a part of all that when I was younger. I've been coaching for 14 years around mindset. I teach people how to be able to repattern their unconscious patterns. I also teach influence through branding and marketing paired with mindset. And I've worked with tens of thousands of people around the world. Now, what I have noticed from a human behavior perspective and also in my personal life, that a lot of the time when you see these manipulative methods and this red pill advice, it's often about attracting insecure women, women that will bend and will succumb to certain words that you use or a special call script or text script. And I'm telling you, if you want a deep and fulfilling relationship with someone, then you do not want a woman like that. And it goes for women too. You do not want a man where you have to manipulate him with certain words to try and get him into bed or get him into a relationship, because that is very short-lived. It also just doesn't feel good to go to bed at night knowing ultimately that you've had to manipulate or twist someone's arm to get into bed with them or to try and build a relationship off foundations which are built off sinking sand. So I want to really bust the myths, because a lot of the time you have men on YouTube, you see them giving this sort of red pill advice, and they say often like, you need to be an a-hole, you just got to treat a girl like, there's this little analogy, you see in this classic like kids movie where the little girl's sitting there and she's picking each petal off the flower saying, he loves me not, he loves me not. And secretly she hopes that it lands on, he loves me. And it's this game of tug of war. It's like the roller coaster. It's the fireworks effect. It's the pulling away to be able to trigger somebody into anxiousness. And it's all games. Now, some people like to use the evolutionary perspective, and they'll say things like, yeah, but from an evolutionary perspective, a woman wants a strong man. Absolutely. Yes, they do. And I agree with that. But does that mean that all you do is lead with the physical? Does that mean that just because you go and get jacked up at the gym and big muscles and all that, which, I've done that before. And yes, you attract on the surface for a little while, you attract some women that want that. But ultimately, if that was all it was, then you'd have just men all the time at the gym that are attracting all the best women in the world. And so what happens is it starts to breed a mindset of insecurity. Now, we can talk physical. We can talk about the money that men have. We can talk about the big network of all the fancy people and famous people that you may be connected with and maybe associated with in your social media pictures. We can talk about all the followers that you can get, but ultimately, all of that is the external. And if you're just chasing that to try and attract women, it's really going to screw you up. And I can say that because I know I've achieved all those things, millions of followers and all the notoriety. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of male clients that, they're big, they're burly, they've got muscles, they've got the followers, and they are still getting their heart broken. And it's because they're trying to attract from a place of lack and insecurity. They're chasing all the time, and they're always posing to try and attract. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, back in the day, yes, there's something in our genetics, there's something in our nature, our instinct, it's our carnal nature for a man to want to procreate, to be able to be the biggest and the strongest, to be competitive for a man that's in his masculine. And for a woman, beauty is a thing that often a woman really aspires for. If there's a way that she can make herself more beautiful, then often she'll go about that. And she appreciates beauty. She appreciates feeling soft and leaning into that strength of a man if a woman is secure and centered in who she is. But what I believe from a creationist worldview, I do believe that God created us to complement each other. I do believe that God created the man to be the protector, to be the provider, right? To be able to be the person that the woman can call upon in times of need. And I believe that a woman is also made to nurture, to lean in, to bring the creativity and the flow. And you see this, right? You see it when a woman who is centered in who she is, how she just loves on her child. It doesn't mean a man can't love. A man can do those things too. But a woman is just naturally there providing in her nurturing way for a child. And so that creationist mindset shows me that when sin entered the world, if you want to say sin is the violation of purpose, when it entered the world and tore the fabric of reality, it says in the scriptures that all nature groans under the weight of sin. And I believe that that hasn't changed. Some people may call it evolutionary, but I believe that this is actually an insecurity in the fabric of society where we are often trying to choose partners out of survival. And some people say, well, you got to get an abundant mindset in order to be able to attract the money you want in your life, to be able to build the businesses you want in your life. And that's true. But you got to also have an abundance mindset when it comes to who you date and who you're in relationship with as well. So what women look for on a deeper level, because many things are provided for in this day and age. It's not the caveman days. It's not the times of the Black Plague. It's not the times of nations fighting against nations in hand-to-hand combat. So they're not necessarily looking for the provider and protector on a level that they would have back then. They now have access to be able to make a lot more of their own money. They now have access to be able to connect with their friends and get that social support. They now have access to be able to even have well-paying and great position jobs as well. So their needs are a bit different. At the core, we all have similar needs, right? We want to be seen, heard, and understood. We all want to be loved and we want to feel good enough. But ultimately, the needs in society have shifted a bit. And so they're not necessarily needing those things all the time from men. What they want is they want emotional stability. They want a man that can communicate clearly. And I know this because I work with thousands of women. And sometimes some women don't quite understand what they want. They say it and it's very emotionally driven. And I get it because women are more emotionally driven. But logically, what I understand as a man is that they're looking for somebody that they feel safe with, right? So that's number one. They want to feel safe. And this red pill community that's pushing often that you've got to be the a-hole and you just walk away from her and make her work for you and all that. From an instinctual standpoint, if you are a man, and this is point number 2, a man that looks after himself, that builds himself up, and then the woman can see that you are on par level with her as an adult and an adult, not a child that she has to look after. Because a woman naturally is designed to give birth to children. And if she wants to see a future with you, she's going to test. Sometimes she's going to test. It's not usually conscious, it's unconscious. She's going to test to see, do you have strength to be the adult in challenging situations? And that might show up as, she might be stuck in some sort of a life challenge. She's going to watch to see how you show up. Do you come in to be able to make sure she's all good? Are you assertive? Do you go out and be somebody that's proactive? Right? That thinks ahead, that plays chess, right? And thinks 2 steps ahead to make sure that she's all good. And that doesn't mean you have to always obsess over her, but care for her and be there when she needs you. Because sometimes women will be almost like a raging ocean, right? That ocean with waves coming in, and that's because they have a lot of hormonal changes that are happening within them. Men get enough sleep and their hormones balance out. But women need more sleep than men. There's statistics. I think they need at least another hour or 2 hours sleep. Men can go with only 6 hours sleep from time to time, and their hormones don't really change too much. But in those times, a woman needs a man to be strong, like a cliff edge as the water crashes on that cliff. You can't be shaken. And this shows that if a woman was ever in trouble, that the man can stand strong in that time and have structure, because a woman is designed to be in flow, in a little bit of that chaos, but that creativity. Men are meant to be in structure and have some order in their life. And a man can teach a woman how to have a little bit of that sometimes too, and a woman can teach a man how to flow a little bit too. That's when you see a dance happening between a man and a woman. So you want to be able to learn how to dance effectively. And I don't mean in like an extremely feminine way, but just be somebody that can like lead and can show up in the moment and be present as well. So a woman likes a man that can be flexible. And if you are trying to box yourself into the perfect script, or what is the text that I should send her, you're trying to put yourself into too much rigidness instead of allowing yourself to just be an inspired man that shows up in the moment, that's genuine and authentically who you are, right? Now, the way that you find strength within yourself as a man, this is point number 3, is yes, go and work out. Go hit the gym, go get the muscle building, because when you work your body, it also works your mind. And a woman can see, yeah, he's keeping fit, right? He's keeping fit. He looks after himself. Have you ever seen the hypergamy tree? It's called hypergamy, and it's very real. Even Jordan Peterson, world-renowned psychologist, speaks into this. He says that women will often date up. They'll look for a man that they can look up to. They'll look for a man that is able to have that rock solidness and have things going on and have structure. A so-called guy that sits on a couch all day playing video games is not a man, that's a boy, right? Because he's not out there hunting. He's not, and I don't mean like hunting animals, but like going and getting provision, right? He's not purpose-driven. So see how so much of this is mindset? It's not about sending the perfect text or like the fancy-looking pictures on your Tinder or your social media. It's about, do you have structure in your life? Do you show up for you so you can fill your cup and be strength so that she can lean on it in times, and also so you can feel strong in your purpose and be someone that is contributing to society. Your woman wants to be proud of you. She wants to respect you. That's what she wants, right? That's number 4, is you be somebody that can be respectable. Be somebody that can be dependable, right? Someone that is a man of your word, to have integrity. This feels safe for a woman. So again, over and over again, she wants to feel safe. If we have a look at the hypergamy tree, right at the top of the tree, these are the top 3 things that women tend to want from a primitive, instinctual, carnal place. Is they want a man that has provision, so money, number 1. Not in any particular order, but like these 3 things in total. Money, provision. Second thing is health. He needs to be healthy, because if you're going to make love to a woman and then you procreate and you have kids, she wants to know that you're not just going to pass away, that you're going to still be around to be able to provide and protect and to nurture and to raise the children with her as well, instead of just falling off the face of the earth, like passing away, right? Then she's left to have to fend for herself. So health is really important. Do you work out at the gym? Do you look after your health? Or are you always drinking every day, taking drugs, smoking? Like, what are you doing with your health, right? And watching porn also makes you weak. If we talk about pornography, because that's like a big thing right now for men. They have like what we call the no-fap challenge, it's like no masturbation, because that makes you weak. It makes you dependable to regulate your nervous system with something that is giving you a false lie, a false sense of reality. So the more things that you buy into that give you a false sense of reality, that lies to you about the reality of things, relationships aren't like that. You can have great, romance and make love and have your own sort of exploration with each other, but porn will very much distort your perception of reality. Taking drugs will distort your perception of reality. Smoking will distort your perception of reality. Like drinking 5 cups of coffee a day to try and stay high on the stimulants will give you a false sense of reality. It will make you very reactive and very unstable around a woman. So the key is to be grounded, right? I believe being connected to God, like having God call you to a higher standard, and then your woman comes under that with you, under that umbrella of God. And that's really important. Men are meant to have strong mindsets. This is safe for a woman, because a strong mindset means a strong body, or a strong body can mean a strong mind. And when we link the two, the body is the unconscious is the body. So if I'm forging against the unconscious programs and showing it who's boss, that I'm not the slave to my mind, but I'm the master of it, it's very powerful when a woman feels safe around that strength. Okay, so the 5th thing is that a woman, as much as she really appreciates the physical, like if you're strong, if you look after yourself, good looking, and good looking doesn't always mean that you have to be like a GQ model. It can mean that you just really just make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because that means that you can take care of your children and take care of her. What she really wants to see is that you have the emotional maturity to communicate and be vulnerable enough. And some people may think, what, to be vulnerable, like that means that you're weak, that you're a beta male. And that's not true. Alpha males, right? Alpha males that are like really confident in themselves will have the courage to say, hey, I have a fear around this, and this is what I need. Right? It's very clear communication. Now a woman doesn't have to play guessing games. You're also encouraging and teaching her to be able to clearly communicate her fears and her needs to you too. You encourage her to draw her boundaries, and you draw your boundaries, you draw your standards so she knows clearly what would be crossing the line and what wouldn't, and where you can play together. We need that. That's how we form a mutual respect. But if you're dating women just trying to like manipulate them with texts and trying to look all cool, it's a facade, it's a mask, it's not real. And whatever's not real will eventually collapse. It collapses on itself because you got to try and keep up this act. So you want to keep it real, okay? So just remember that ultimately you build the strength from within. You also build the confidence from within. You're purpose driven. You set your standards high. You connect that with God as well. Be held to God, and be real about where you're at. If you're not willing to date right now and you just like playing around, just tell people, hey, this is where I'm at. Don't play games with women's emotions and feelings. Because when you do that, it means that you're a taker. You're always trying to take. You're not a builder. You're trying to rob people of things. And a strong man that is in his masculine will create, will build, will have structure, will be held to a higher standard, and will build a lifestyle with his whoever, girlfriend, wife, like I have with my wife. She's amazing, and I've learned so much in the dating experiences over the last 36 years of my life. But like building a haven, a sanctuary, a place where you can grow together. And if you don't feel that you can do that with the person that you're dating, you got to be really serious about this and talk about the vision of what you guys desire to create and see if it's something you're able to. Or do you have trauma that you get to work on before you go into that space to create with someone? Because that's unfair too. If you're bringing all your trauma and expecting them to fix it for you, it's selfish. A strong man is not selfish. A strong man is self-sustainable, but he also knows how to give. And that's the difference. So please stop buying into all this like advice of manipulation and everything. Build your mindset, get your structures right, get vision driven, and be courageous enough to be clear with whoever it is that you're dating or in relationship with so you can continue to grow together.